Hey, fabulous people. Okay, so I was going to talk about the imposter in the White House today, but I think there's something much more pressing that I need to talk about. And that is the political massacre of Senator Al Franken. And because that's what it was. It was a lynch mob against him. One of the most despicable displays of political cowardice I've ever seen. And I'm going to preface everything I'm about to say by saying this. I am a feminist. And to be a feminist, that means you believe in equality of the sexes, not inequality. What has happened with the Metoo movement is that it has been weaponized to the point where every single accusation is equal. And every single woman must be believed, whether or not the issues have been vetted, whether or not the men have had an opportunity to defend themselves. That is something I will never support. Senator Franken asked for an investigation into himself. And the reason why he asked for that investigation is, this is my speculation, is because he wanted to prove that the allegations were flimsy. It didn't warrant the outrage, or at least the false equivalencies. And so if you look at the very first accusation, it just is incredible. And so many people have called that out. Even Micah from Morning Joe called that out. Because it's just not a credible accusation. The second accusation, it is also suspect. But even if it's believed, he grabbed your butt. He shouldn't be doing that. It's wrong. But are you serious? He should resign and receive the same punishment as Roy Moore? Other accusations, totally anonymous. Anonymous accusations from people. And he has no right to defend those because he doesn't have the ability to defend against people he doesn't know. The last accusation is somebody who claims that he grabbed her waist. Is that legitimately enough to throw in with what you're alleging is sexual harassment? She was taking a picture with him. See, what happened was this hysterical reaction because the Time magazine had just made the Me Too movement the people of the year. And also conveniently, the Alabama election is the next week. So what Democrat women led by Senator Gillibrand, what they did was try to capitalize on those two things. They did not gain the moral high ground. Let me tell you what moral high ground is. Look at what Paul Ryan did with Trent Franks. Paul Ryan secretly and quietly sought his resignation. He gave him the dignity and the respect of a colleague that you have known for a substantial amount of time and got him to resign. He didn't have this public spectacle, this political spectacle that they did where they had cameras and everything else castrating Senator Franken. The Democrats did that to him. Republicans would never do what the Democrats just did to Senator Franken. They would never have done it. The Democrats thought that they were capitalizing on some kind of moral high ground. How is it morally correct to do what they did to Senator Franken? You denied him due process, which he's entitled to constitutionally. See, Senator Franken was elected by Minnesota voters. He wasn't hired. He was elected. There's a difference. His voters are enraged today. And they've been enraged since he said he was going to resign. Because you did not ask them what they felt about it. The people who put him in office. You didn't. You thought the movement supersedes due process. He is a senator. And Senate powers come from the Constitution. The Senate has created an ethics committee which was going to vet those claims. See, Senator Franken's claims have never been vetted. They were just published and then weaponized with a whole host of holes, which would have required any sane or rational person to say that there should be an investigation. Period. And he asked for one, which was his right. And I hear people say, that he chose to resign. That is laughable. When your entire Senate basically is telling you, all your own party are telling you, you need to go. How would he have gotten a fair hearing? They had already prejudged the situation. They said he had to resign. So essentially, they were telling him, we'll expel you. So resign for these flimsy accusations. We're going to hold you accountable, even worse than Roy Moore. Because see, Roy Moore might actually win in Alabama. Minnesota is more of a purple state now. They love Al Franken. Doesn't mean they're going to love another Democrat. And they damn sure aren't happy with the Democrats right now. Neither are millions of Democrats all over the country. Because this was pure political cowardice. When they got up there and said all those things about Senator Franken, they said not one word about the imposter in the White House. If you're capitalizing on the moment and you're saying we need to weed out all the predators, then the first two people you should have been talking about were the imposter in the White House and the imposter in Alabama. But not one word about them. No, we're going to throw out the man whose accusations wouldn't even arise to anything criminal at all. And then we're going to throw him out. But we're going to let Roy Moore get a Senate investigation. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to let Donald Trump continue in his deplorable and despicable presidency. So what happened to Al Franken was a lynch mob. It was political suicide. It was one of the worst decisions Democrats have ever made. It was unfair. It was injudicious. It was literally tragic. And as so many people are enraged, and if you go look at social media, those senators are in a lot of trouble for what they did. And they need to rectify it. Al Franken deserves an ethics committee investigation. And one that is not prejudged. One that the people who asked for him to resign have nothing to do with. And that's sad because it's going to be his entire party pretty much. But there are people from the party who didn't say a word. I think it was like 38 of them that did. Which means there's probably at least 9 or so that didn't. And those are the people that I commend today. The Metoo movement was not supposed to create an imbalance where you say all women must be believed. If you're saying that, then what you're saying is that men cannot be believed, which means they're not entitled to due process. And the precedent that was set by Democrats by doing this is that if any other senator gets accused of something, even if they did it or not, if you called for Al Franken to resign, you also have to resign. Because you can't say Al Franken has to go and you don't go. So now you also don't get a chance to defend yourself. So congratulations. This is why Democrats don't win. And this is why I'm such an angry Democrat today. And this is the reason why I am so offended by what happened to Al Franken. Political cowardice never wins. And if you thought that you gained even one voter because you did that, or you changed the movement or advanced the movement, or you made men more interested in being Democrats because Democrats are basically the ones pushing the Me Too movement, if you think that you did that, you are sorely mistaken. You gained not one person because you got rid of Al Franken. They weaponized those women to get rid of Al Franken. You think a GOP is going to become a Democrat because of that? But you lost supporters. People re-registered as independents because of you. You're losing donations people will never give to the party again. You didn't gain one thing because you're not good political strategists. And this was not a good political strategy. And after the investigation, if something had said that his conduct warranted him to resign, we all would have said he needed to resign. But you didn't even give him the right to defend himself. That I will never support. All women should be heard. They don't have to be believed. Listen to us. And then do your own due diligence before you destroy someone's life like they just did to Al Franken. No matter what comes of this, he's been politically destroyed. And that is unforgivable. So Democrats, let me tell you something. If you don't grow a backbone and you continue this spineless jellyfish behavior, you won't have anybody left in the party. Because you will zero tolerance your way to non-existence. This was preposterous. This was political suicide. This was a political massacre.